What's going on, guys? Welcome to Everything Always. My name's Michael Roman, aka All Fires. Well, guys, I was as shocked to post a video a month ago called Warner Brothers is for sale, yes really, as I am to now report that they have officially been purchased, and by none other than Netflix, which we will get into during this video because everybody knows exactly why this is so exciting. It has a lot to do with the Snyderverse, but as reported by The Hollywood Reporter, it's official, Netflix to acquire Warner Brothers in deal valued at $82.7 billion, and they actually go as far as to talk about what they're going to do with their current operations, including theatrical releases. Yes, that includes DC Studios, James Gunn, and Peter Safran. We're breaking down this latest breaking news and a crazy shift for a major studio now headed to the streaming giant. But first, if you could grab the subscribe button, thanks to everyone who's been subbing lately and help grow the channel. If you haven't already and you enjoy the content, the best way to support us is by becoming a subscriber. All you got to do, hit the sub button, leave a comment down below to be entered for the giveaways. If you want, stick around at the end of the video. We get into all the giveaway stuff again there. Okay, so this news actually broke super late last night, actually after midnight on East Coast time. We're going off the article in The Hollywood Reporter under the headline, "It's official, Netflix to acquire Warner Brothers in deal valued at $82.7 billion. The streaming giant's proposal includes a $5.8 billion breakup fee," we'll talk about what that is, "and promises to, quote, maintain Warner Brothers' current operations, including theatrical releases." Theater owners are already speaking out. They continue by saying, quote, "Netflix has agreed to buy Warner Brothers in a mega deal valued at $82.7 billion. Under an effort nicknamed Project Noble, the streaming giant's leadership secured $59 billion in financing from a consortium of banks to assemble the deal. Netflix says the buy would give users more choice and let it optimize its plans. It will also expand its studio operations while creating better value for talent and shareholders with $2 to $3 billion in annual cost savings. The deal proposal has a breakup fee of $5.8 billion, meaning that if the acquisition is scuttled in any way by Netflix, they still have to pay the entire $5.8 billion to Warner Brothers Discovery for the then botched deal." Now, this next part is super important. They continue by saying the companies revealed the acquisition early Friday, altering the course of the entertainment business. Netflix said that it expects to maintain the current operations of Warner Brothers, including theatrical releases for films, though specifics aside from top-line deal numbers remain scarce, and that may be the focus of opposition to the acquisition as the dust settles on the announcement. What they're saying in that paragraph is that there are going to be a ton of theater owners and everyone alike who is on the side of putting movies in movie theaters, who's about to see one of the biggest streaming giants buy a huge entertainment studio. And what the worry across the industry will be, what people will be voicing as an opposition to this deal is, we don't want to see movies all move to streaming. And that will be a fear in the industry, rightful or not, that Netflix is only looking to acquire Warner Brothers to make better content for their streaming platform, not to be interested in doing box office deals. Which, think about this from Netflix's perspective, it's this easy. They have Netflix and they can make a movie and put it right on their streaming platform. Or they can make a movie for essentially the same budget and cost, because now it will be one company, and then give it to the theaters where they're going to take half of the box office. Half. Instead of using an asset that you made on your own streaming platform. Now, obviously, the math doesn't break down the same way, and they're promising to keep putting their productions in theaters, but there is going to be a big worry again across the industry, especially from people who don't want to see this happen, who will basically say that they're saying anything they can now to keep everybody calm, but once they own the company, they can do whatever they want. Now, outside of those who are going to oppose this deal, and there's going to be a lot of people who do, there's a whole nother group of people who cannot wait for this deal to happen, because they assume, with everything that's being posted to social media lately, that by Netflix buying Warner Brothers, they're going to restore the Snyderverse. This next paragraph gets into that very likely. They report, quote, "Netflix also made its pitch to filmmakers and creatives, writing that by uniting Netflix's member experience and global reach with Warner Brothers' renowned franchises and extensive library, the company will create greater value for talent, offering more opportunities to work with beloved intellectual property, tell new stories, and connect with a wider audience than ever before." That's right, they're going to have more ability to take these franchises, say like DC, and not only put them out in theaters, but offer them opportunities at Netflix. All I can say is this: I do not see James Gunn and Peter Safran going anywhere. They have had, despite what some people have tried to say, a successful kickoff to the DCU, and I fully wholeheartedly assume those in charge will keep those two in place for DC Studios. And what's really going to work in James Gunn's favor now is that from the beginning, he said he was going to embrace Elseworlds. That's why he's okay with the Batman 2 coming out when they're also working on their own Batman. Here's the deal. from the top line down to the bottom line. Netflix is well aware of the fandom, the cult fandom surrounding Zack Snyder and the Snyderverse, and they have been posting pictures about it. Zack Snyder has been posting pictures. It doesn't mean they're going to reinstate the Snyderverse, but if you buy Warner Brothers, DC Studios, it's some of their most classic IP in a time where comic book movies, regardless of the decline, are still the number one thing going. Of course, they are going to find a way to put DC on Netflix. Right now, you've got Peacemaker on HBO. It probably will stay there. But for something like the Snyderverse, where they can have their own essential Netflix releases of the DCU, man, I see it coming a mile away right now. I think fans do as well, and it seemed like at some point a pipe dream, but it's all in front of us. Now, people who have been watching the channel for a while will know that I am a diehard James Gunn stan, but I also love Zack Snyder. In fact, I have defended some of his work publicly when maybe I shouldn't have, just because I love Zack Snyder and he's made some absolute masterpieces. But the stuff he did with Netflix recently, the Rebel Moon releases, were not good. I wanted to like them so bad, and there was something there, but the production value of the shows themselves, especially the first part, was terrible. And it was so terrible, whether he was going for something stylistically or not, it didn't work, in my opinion. Artistically, it was bad. But I think you need to look at his body of work, not just one production he did with Netflix. And so, brass tacks, I think it may be easy to say, if they acquire this and it goes through, at some point, they're going to work with Zack Snyder again, and probably on DC. I do not know how fast it's going to be like, well, we've got Warner Brothers now, the Snyderverse is back. There's going to be delicate conversations about it, but if you're one who wakes up every day, like some of the Marvel diehard fans here, and you're really still all about the Snyderverse, and you have been praying for it to come back, I would say that your odds went from basically non-existent to a strong 50-50 or maybe even better right now. And so for that specific fan watching my channel right now, for you, man, Merry Christmas early. It's actually awesome. But I really want to make the macro point here, big picture, because this little DC Snyderverse on Netflix and also having DC movies in theaters, that's just a microcosm for what the theater industry is going to say about this. They are going to worry that instead of making it an even split, in some cases it'll lead to dilution of the brands or a lesser quality product going on Netflix, or take away from the theater experience completely, because where Warner Brothers had plenty of studio movies that were working under the model where they go to the theater first and then get put on HBO for streaming, Netflix is going to be looking to fast track at least some of these straight to Netflix or straight to HBO, however that'll be arranged. Man, they changed their name so many times at this point, it'll be hilarious if it all just ends up under the Netflix banner. Still, this is a huge move for that company. There are going to be a ton of people who are watching what they call a dying movie industry right now, where these productions are not making any money. And we don't talk about this too much at the channel, because obviously this channel is very specifically for what's going on with the MCU. Really should start a second channel so I can talk about all this stuff that we never really cover. But if you look at the top movies this year, there were very few that were profitable. And in a lot of cases where the budgets were higher, the higher the budget was, correlates directly with how much the money lost. Basically, it's very hard to move the bottom line to get people to go to theaters, and this is why for years we've seen, I think last year it was a record where the top 10 movies were all sequels. If the IP isn't known, if there isn't already an inherent fandom in the IP, it's very hard to sell it. Now, I will say, conversely, this is the perfect time for another George R.R. Martin author or artist to come through with new IP, as the old IP is getting rinsed and repeated over and over again. And this will only speak to a very small part of you watching this video, but you may know Magic the Gathering cards. They have a set called Secret Lair, or they basically third-party IP'd Magic the Gathering now to all these sets. They did Spider-Man this year, but they've also put out Lord of the Rings. They have an Avatar set going right now. The same way that Fortnite licensed all of the skins for anybody they can. It's just an absolute IP first industry. And what I think is happening is that as that IP first industry goes into decline, people like Netflix are looking to get as much IP as they can. So they look at Warner Brothers, who has Game of Thrones and DC Studios. I mean, the list is forever. We could sit here and name a ton of stuff that you guys would instantly recognize that has inherent value. And for Netflix, this is a huge grab. That's why they go after something like this. And they see the future for what it is, and there is still, even on the decline, a lot of years left of them rinsing and repeating any sort of IP that has any sort of nostalgia value at all. I'm not just talking about Avengers 8 and Thor 5, I'm talking about Super Mario 8 and Minecraft 5, and the list goes on and on. Wherever they can grab it, they will, and it's not going to end tomorrow. It's going to be going for a while. So from Netflix perspective, grabbing a huge studio like Warner Brothers that has an absolute plethora of IP, and we could list them, guys, but it's really long. They've got a ton of huge stuff right up there with Disney, to be honest. This is a huge get from them. And what I would say as a fan and consumer only, without sort of this analyst approach or reporting the news, like a lot of you probably don't care. I honestly don't care either. I have no fear of them not putting out movies in theaters and putting them straight to Netflix or whatever's going to change over there. That's for people in the industry to worry about that work in those industries. All I can see for this is that the big win here is that if you are a Restore the Snyderverse fan and have been for the last half decade, you are literally living your best life, and I am so happy for you. And I gotta be honest, I'd be into it too. I don't really have a problem with that. I mean, it's always been that way. There's always going to be multiple superheroes. Marvel may go back into the singular timelines and not do the variant thing, but I think we've got variants for a while coming in DCU. Shoot, we've got 2 Batman movies coming. You guys let me know all your thoughts down below, shock, reactions, etc. Are you worried? And of course, if you're all for the Snyderverse, let me know too. I'm all ears. Quickly, let's get into the giveaway stuff before I let you go. Still giving away PS5s for every Marvel drop next year. We're also giving away another round of Fire and Ash tickets. We've already given away several, so you can go catch Avengers Doomsday's trailer or 3 in theaters. Either way, if you want to be entered to win, all you got to do for any of the future giveaways, just be a sub, leave a comment, because it's truly random. The more videos you comment on, the better chance you have of winning. All winners will always be announced at the end of videos the same way we're doing here, live with my voice in the winning comments shown on screen. Please be safe and vigilant across YouTube, and if you ever get any spam in the comments, report it. Best way to keep up with the content has always been to hit the notification bell with all notifications turned on. And as always, if you like today's video, I'd appreciate it if you hit the like button. My name's Michael Roman. Find me on Instagram and Twitter at IamFires. Find me on all other platforms with original music under the name AllFires. And while I would sincerely appreciate you checking my music out, thanks for checking this channel out. Stick around. We'll be posting again real soon.